Hey everyone, unless you've been living under a rock for the past, 5 years, you've probably heard about cryptocurrency. Well, I do joke about that. What's very important is that when you look at these investment decisions, you get the best return for a given amount of risk that you want to take. In order to achieve that, it's helpful to have some type of model or decision tree to walk through as you make these decisions. So today, Adam is gonna walk us through how we make those decisions and hopefully empower all of our viewers to better make those decisions as well. So, Adam?
Absolutely, yeah. So, Jake, to your point, we've got kind of a decision tree, sort of a process here at Castle Point. We take every single investment through, and there's multiple steps. So we start with like really big questions like, hey, what constitutes the kind of universe of investments we consider appropriate for a long-term investor? And then we get down to the nitty-gritty of, okay, what are the fees on this fund? What are the tax ramifications? All kinds of different things. Can we get diversification within that investment vehicle? So crypto is a great place to start for that because it's really at step one when we're defining, okay, what is a suitable investment for a long-term investor? And I think we're going to link a video where we go a little bit more in depth to this if you're interested. But on that first question, what's a suitable long-term investment? The thing we really look for in all the investments in our portfolio are cash flows. And what is a cash flow? At the most basic level, it's, say you wanted to go start a lemonade stand and you wanted me to invest in it. I would hope that at some point you plan to sell lemonade and you plan to give me some of my money back, right? Like that's the premise of an investment is someday it will pay you back some cash, whether it's a dividend, whether it's on the sale of a business, but someday the cash is coming back to you. And so everything in our portfolios, whether it's stocks or bonds, has that element of it. Someday the cash will come back to you as the owner of the investment in one way or the other. And so that's really where kind of crypto hits our first filter. Mm-hmm. Crypto, kind of like gold or like fine art, other things that have value and can go up and down in value, but don't necessarily create their own value. They don't provide an opportunity for the investor to receive cash back from the investment without selling it. Those are things that we do not include in the portfolio to achieve long-term gains. Mm-hmm. And one reason you can think of on that is, if we're trying to see gains in the investments, and we think 5+ years in the future, 10+ years, 20+ years, everything gets really foggy, right? If you had a crystal ball, it's gonna fog up probably at that 10-year mark, and it's really tough to predict what cryptocurrency, what commodity will be worth or will be the dominant one. But the thing that is really predictable, and we've seen this over 100+ years, is people continue to invent things, companies continue to grow, and so really in our core portfolio, we are betting on the ingenuity of people. I mean, it really comes down to something that basic, to continue to invent things, to go to work, to move the ball forward, and our economy will grow and services and goods will get better and better. On something like crypto, you have to make a really specific bet that particular asset is going to be more valuable in the future. And that's again where we hit that kind of first filter where maybe that's not appropriate for generating long-term investment gains in a well-diversified portfolio. There is a second step to that too that we take it through, because you might not own something for long-term returns, you might own it for risk management. Mm-hmm. So for example, insurance, you don't expect to make money on insurance, right? Mm-hmm. You get it because you don't want to handle the risk of something really large happening, like losing your house, something like that. So could crypto have a role in risk management? Well, there's no theoretical reason why we kick it out like we do for long-term investing, but we would want to see, okay, what specific risk are we trying to mitigate, and is there data or a really compelling theory of why crypto would help us offset that risk? So that kind of goes into some of the next levels of our decision process. And then of course there's a third reason to own something, it's just because you want to, right? Like, you buy a car because you want to, you might buy art because you want to. So I absolutely would never say to somebody, don't go out and buy crypto. But from our perspective, we don't consider it to be kind of one of those assets that we're going to use for generating predictable cash flows in the future for retirement and things like that.
Yeah, and because there's no future cash flows that we can use to value this asset, it falls into that category of other commodities. You mentioned gold, and there's other things in this space. And so, first of all, not only do we have to figure out in that second link of your tree, what risk are we trying to mitigate? We also have to figure out what tool should we use to do that.
Yep.
And if we're going to use cryptocurrency now, Should we also be using gold? Should we be using other alternatives? All these things start to enter into our investable space. And so that's really the question at hand as to, does it fit into number 2? If we agreed, us and the viewer all agreed that it doesn't even fit into that number 2, it falls into that number 3 category of, hey, I'm owning this because I want to own it. And maybe I'm just owning it because I don't want to miss out on it if it does take over all currencies in the future. And I think we're okay with that. If you want to own something just because you want to own it, do that. But do so in a manner that it doesn't represent a huge portion of your overall portfolio. And furthermore, don't really even look at it like it is a piece of your core portfolio, but it's something you want to own.
Absolutely.
So I don't know, is that all correct? Does that all jive? And is there anything you'd add to that?
No, I think that hits the nail right on the head. There's all kinds of things you own for all kinds of different reasons. We're here to help provide for those things in bucket 3 in the future, so you can purchase all the things you want to go about your life and enjoy yourself. We do that with things in bucket number 1, which are assets with cash flows, so we can kind of produce that long-term investment gains. And then along the way, we want to try to prevent any really negative, low probability but high impact events.
There you go.
And that's where we think about risk management.
That's great. Okay, for more on this, we are going to link to another video where Adam's going to share his screen and dive into each of these buckets to really tease out what we're talking about here. I recommend anybody that's interested in these topics go visit that video. And just looking forward to the next videos. Thank you for everyone for watching. That was a longer one, but it was a lot of fun. Thanks everyone for watching. I want to give you one more reminder that Adam's video digging deeper into this topic will be linked on the screen and in the description below. If you are enjoying these videos and do want an alert as they come out in the future, feel free to hit like or subscribe.